am Bookbound Mama, and today I'm going to be talking about The Curious Garden. I don't know about where you are, but here where I am, spring is in the air, Earth Day is this month, and I am definitely in need of a good dose of hope and stories of resilience right about now. I thought this was a good one for today. Curious Garden was written and illustrated by Peter Brown, and it was published in 2009. And if the name Peter Brown is sounding familiar to you, that is because this is also the author of the Wild Robot series. The Curious Garden is a pretty well-known, well-loved picture book. But for those of you who haven't read it, or those of you, it's been a while since you've read it, I just felt like this was a great book to talk about this week. In this story, there is a gloomy, polluted city where nobody goes outside, understandably, except for one boy named Liam. And Liam loves to go be outside, even though the city is not that pretty. He loves to go out in the rain, which speaks to my soul. And one day when he's out walking around, he goes up the stairs to this old abandoned railroad track, and he discovers there is a small patch of plants there, but the plants need help. Even though Liam doesn't really know anything about gardening, he just begins to care for this little patch of plants, and he definitely makes mistakes in the beginning, but he just keeps showing up. He keeps showing up to care for these plants, and as he does, he learns things, and the garden grows bigger and bigger, and we just see how with his attention and care, this garden just starts to explore the city and take over the abandoned railroad tracks, and it starts to kind of go down into the city as well. You see other people get inspired to do gardening or learn from Liam. By the end of the book, this city has just transformed into this beautiful green space where there's community, people playing outside. It's just such a beautiful story about the resilience of nature and of the human spirit, because even though there are times where Liam doesn't know what he's doing or he can't exactly be there, when winter comes, he just finds ways to keep showing up and to keep learning and to keep doing what he wants to do. And I also love that Liam didn't set out to change the world or change his whole city. He just showed up for that one little patch of plants. And even though he didn't know what he was doing, he just kept showing up and kept helping right there. And then that just spread to create this amazingly beautiful city and all these people who also wanted to show up and to be outside and to be with each other. So it's just such a beautiful story and just a wonderful reminder about how our little actions can make really big differences. So at the end of the book, Peter Brown talks about his inspiration, which was this elevated railway in New York City that was basically abandoned around 1980. And it's so cool to see photos of this abandoned railway and just the nature that started taking over. So I will try to link to some of those photos either on my Substack or on my Pinterest page, and I will link to those. I'll link to whichever one of those below. Basically, this elevated railway was set to be demolished completely, and these two people decided that this would make a really awesome public park. They were perhaps inspired by the nature that had taken over, and the whole community got behind it, and they were able to save this, and it's now this Highline public park in New York City. It actually opened in 2009, which was the year that this book was written. This is not all in the author's note, by the way. This is just stuff I researched and found out. So it's really so interesting to see the parallels of how just like this one person in the picture book, or these two people for the Highline project, were able to take their actions and get community behind it and create just this difference for their cities and create these beautiful spaces for the people who live there. We happen to have 2 copies of the book, which is because I love to get our books from used booksellers, whether that's in shops here or online. We happened to end up with this one, with a signed copy from Peter Brown, which I love. And of course I wanted to keep, but I also wanted one that would feel comfortable with the kids handling a little bit more because they were much younger when we got this. So I got our second copy. So I've been doing a piece of music with each of these books and these videos. And for this one, I really struggled to find something because I feel like the book just has this sort of whimsical feeling, but also this playful, hopeful spirit about it. But it's also sort of quiet and subdued in a way. And I just could not find a piece of music, at least in my small little repertoire, of what would be a good fit. But I did find one thing that sort of just felt like fit the scenes of Liam and the garden connecting. And I really love how there's almost this partnership and friendship between Liam and the garden, like these 2 beautiful characters in the book. This piece of music was written in the 1700s. It's called Plaisir d'amour, which I'm positive I'm saying wrong. Plaisir d'amour. If it sounds familiar to you, that is because it was written into a song in the 1960s for Elvis to sing. Can't Help Falling in Love with You. Definitely took a lot from this Plaisir d'amour song. You will probably recognize parts of the melody. This is just a very simple arrangement done by Dennis Alexander again, and I will play it now. In case you were wondering, yes, I do have a little stuffed animal this week. She does not have a name. She is a hedgehog with some flowers though, so I am creating book companions for most of the books I'm talking about here. I am working on getting technology figured out so I can put them up on my shop, and when I do, I will add links below. I will also add a link to my Substack account where I write written reviews of the books, plus other books that I don't talk about here. And I will also have links to maybe some of the extra things that I talked about. Feel free to check that out. It is currently just a free Substack if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, and I loved getting to talk about this book. It's one of my favorite books, as these all are, I know. I really felt like this one was very timely for this week. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.